Hello and welcome to the 2023 Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup, and what better place could we start a brand new season of racing, the 17th season of racing in Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup, no less than here in Portimao. The roller coaster they call it, and you can absolutely see why. It presents so many technical challenges for our riders who are on that crucial step on their road to MotoGP. It is fast, it is flat out, it is up and down. I mean, yeah, you get why it's called the roller coaster. Of course, though, this isn't the first time that the rookies have been here so far this year. We were here a week ago for pre-season testing, where we saw some surprises and some not very surprising results, I would say, as well. Likes of Angel Piqueras, Max Quiles being very, very fast on the timing screens, but perhaps some outliers like Cormac Buchanan really adapting to the new machinery that our rookies have this year. I certainly cannot wait to see how we get on. This track presents all the ingredients you need for spectacular motorcycle racing at this level. Let's hear about what it is that makes Portimao so special.
The wonderful hills of Portimao, rising and falling, a fabulous variety of corners, and including this flat-out top sixth gear run down here into turn one, hard on the brakes, compressing the front suspension, sweeping through the corner, but trying to keep on track so you don't drift wide and let the opposition underneath you into turn two. A myriad of overtaking opportunities at Portimao, but so often it comes down to the last lap. And this, the last corner. Incredible speed dropping down the hill here, desperately trying to keep the motorcycle on the tarmac and off the green. Because touch the green on the last lap, and that is a penalty, and it can decide the race, as it did last year.
On the green stuff there, I wonder if he'll be penalised, because this is the last lap and he touched the green stuff. He's exceeded track limits.
Rules are rules.
He's got the news himself now. He's got the news.
From turn 1 to turn 15, this track has everything. Nothing tests the rookies more than Portimao.
I'm Angel Piqueras. I'm from Spain. I was born 1st of December of 2006. My favorite rider is Marc Marquez.
Angel Piqueras got to be one of my top two favourites for the championship this year. On paper, his performance, especially at the first round when he first came onto the scenes in rookies in 2022, he was extremely fast, well on the pace, pushing the other guys to the limits. Fast forward to the end of the season as well, he was also equally strong. He has got to make that step up this year and surely be one of the championship favourites.
My goal is winning this championship, and I will fight. I think my favorite track is here in Portimao, because it's like a roller coaster, and that I like so much.
Angel Piqueras, what can I say? He's definitely my prediction ahead of the championship this year for the title. But as he found out, anything can happen on and off the bike. He got a training injury last year that put him out of contention. It was even here a year ago in that first race, battling Rueda for the race win. He had a massive crash coming out of turn 3. A bit of a rookie error back then. He won't be making the same kind of mistake this weekend, he should hope. But then you've got to factor in Max Quiles as well for the title. He is such a strong contender. Casey O'Gorman, well, if he can get that consistency sorted, I reckon he could be a front runner too. Rico Salmela, a race winner last year, he will make the necessary step up in 2023 as well. But then think about the likes of Jacob Rollstone, had a great pre-season test. Cormac Buchanan, Eddie O'Shea's looking fit again now. All potential contenders for the title and many more. That's what I love about rookies.
I believe Matt Dan already gave you a few names to look out for, but here are my predictions. Angel Piqueras will be very hard to beat, followed by Max Quiles and Cormac Buchanan or Casey O'Gorman. But the surprise of the weekend might be Guido Pini, who did really good during free practice and qualifying. I'm very excited for race 1 to start, and now it's over to our commentary team of Matt Dan and Peter Clifford.
Well, it's an absolutely fabulous afternoon, isn't it, Matt? A beautiful day for racing. You really couldn't wish for more.
No, absolutely not. Conditions were a little bit tricky in the test just a week ago, but these are absolute prime now. The best conditions I think we've had yet since arriving in Portimao.
If there's anything, you know, the guys are going to watch out for here, as always at Portimao, it is the wind. You can see that turning the turbines there, it's 24 kilometres, 14 kilometres, well, keeps changing, doesn't it? 18, 13 miles an hour. It's obviously blustery, it's changing.
But that is significant, actually. I mean, if it was 3 to 4 mile an hour or just 6 or 7 kilometres an hour, I wouldn't be worried too much, but that actually could genuinely change the outcome of the entire race here. The wrong crosswind, catching a rider at the wrong turn, could even take them out, or it could even stop a slipstream effect down the start and finish straight.
Well, that's right. The guys were saying, weren't they, in qualifying, that they really they couldn't do anything without the slipstream, because out on your own, you're just battling this headwind down the straight, and you really need to get in the slipstream. So that's obviously going to play into the tactics for this race. And there on pole position is Angel Piqueras. We heard from him in the pre-show, and he's obviously feeling well on form. He's feeling confident. He told me, you know, after qualifying, he said, I'm going to try and break away, but I really don't know that I can do it. And of course, you know, that's where the slipstream comes in. If he's got to go out on his own, maybe he just doesn't have the pace.
Yeah, quite possible indeed. Over a year ago, we just saw him burst onto the rookie scene, taking Rueda all the way to the line in that first race, but, well, not quite, because he actually ended up crashing out at turn 3, as we talked about in the pre-show, and then he couldn't compete in race 2, but he knows this place very well. He's very, very fast here, but this rider, I think, was my biggest surprise of yesterday, Peter.
Yeah, I think he shook everybody, didn't he? But it was an absolute stunner, and he admitted, he said, look, I nearly crashed 6 times in that lap.
In one lap?
In one lap. He said, you know, I just gave it everything, and he said, I'm going to try and do the same thing in the race. I don't know how many laps I can do it. He said, but I think I can run with the front guys. I'm just going to go as fast as whoever is in front of me.
Well, I've heard of things like from the gravel trap to the top step of the podium, but I've not heard of chickenpox to here,
No.
which is what, of course, he was dealing with over the last few days, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. He's only just overcome that. Completing the front row again of the grid then. The 15-year-old Irishman, Casey O'Gorman. Casey was fast here last year. He was fast all year, in fact, wasn't he? But he just couldn't, you know, turn those fast, battling for the podium positions into the race win. He's yet to win a Rookies Cup race, and he says, you know, I've really learned now that I've just got to be more aggressive over the last few laps.
Yeah, he absolutely does. He did manage to get some wins at European level in one of the other championships. He managed to compete in the European Talent Cup at the end of last year. So Casey knows what it takes to actually get victories at this level with some of these very riders on track with us. But can he do it here in Rookies in 2023?
And that is Lawrence Luciano, the 18-year-old Belgium, and he's been taking a big step forward there. He's now qualified, heading the second row of the grid, and he said, you know, the only difference between this year and last year is all in my head.
Oh, well, that's nice, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure it is a little bit more physicality, muscle memory and things like that. You do progress as a rider from one year to the next, don't you? But this right here, Alberto Ferrandez, is our top rookie of rookies in 2023.
That's right. As you say, the 15-year-old Spaniard, you know, he rode in the ETC in the Junior GP last year, I believe, didn't he? And he swapped between the two mid-season, so he didn't end up on the top of either championship, but he's obviously a man to watch out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with that. 9th in the ETC overall last year, because he's quite tall in comparison to this rider here, the 27 of Rico Salmela, the 3rd rider that we have on this grid this year, who has taken previously a victory in Rookies Cup.
Yeah, a single race win last year, and he's determined to add to that this season. It's great, isn't it? We've got a Spaniard, a South African, an Irishman, a Belgian, another Spaniard, and a Finn on the first 2 rows.
You're going to have a lot of fun looking at the statistics around nationalities between the next race, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. I will fill you in the morning. So there is the full grid. Take us through it.
Yeah,
Matt.
well, there we go then. Angel Piqueras starts from pole position from Ruche Mouli and Casey O'Gorman. Then you have Lorenzo Luciano, Ferrandez and Salmela finishing up the second row. Carpe, another one of the rookies this year as well, ahead of Hakim Danish and Max Quiles, one of the favourites for the title this year. Eddie O'Shea, the 8-ball Eddie, a naughty boy yesterday. He's got a long lap penalty to serve in this race. He starts from 10th ahead of Sherrill and Carter Thompson. Stevenson, Kevin Farkas, Guido Pini and Cormac Buchanan round out the row just behind them. Then you've got Mizera, Rosenhaler and Morelli, Ruder, Rollstone and Aditama, then Reece Stevenson, Leo Ramersdorfer, Shinya Izawa and Alexander Enriquez. No Dodo Boggio, he suffered an injury back in testing. He did try to attempt to ride yesterday, but decided to sit these races out.
Yeah, he's got a really badly swollen ankle, hasn't he? He can't really sort of operate the equipment properly, so he's got to sit this one out, which is a great shame. As you pointed out, you're in ninth position, Maximo Chies, the 15-year-old Spaniard. You know, I think there's 3 wins.
Who's actually having a little bit of trouble there, is he? As we see on the screen, no, he's getting going now. Maybe
he's got it going.
it.
Yeah, well, that's. I'm glad he's managed to get going. And he was quite distraught after practice. You know, he really, you know, he lives his feelings through his eyes and that. And he said, "Look, I was just unlucky. I just couldn't find a slipstream. I really couldn't. Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible." You know, he's only 9th fastest, and of course he you know, if he gets in the race, that's not going to be a problem for him, I'm sure.
Well, absolutely. If you cast your minds back a year ago when we had the first race of 2022, actually Colin Fire won the race from 13th on the grid in race 2. He did, of course, benefit from Jose Rueda running onto the green, but he still would have been 2nd place. So nothing is impossible here. I chatted to Cormac Buchanan about that very thing earlier on as well. Asked what happened to him in qualifying. He said, well, he was running a tow service. It felt like everybody was latching onto him. He couldn't catch a wheel, but he thinks that actually even from 15th you could do some damage here in the race today.
And of course Cormac the Kiwi comes to us from New Zealand, having won both the 300 and 600 Supersport Championships in the New Zealand over the Southern Hemisphere summer, and that 600 Supersport Championship is super competitive.
Yeah, that was a really impressive off-season in inverted commas that Cormac had, wasn't it? Extremely impressive indeed. That's not really an off-season at all. He's just race ready, or unlike everybody else pretty much, I would say.
Well, that's right. You know, and he flew literally from the final round. I think he even missed the last race in the 300 series or something to get on the plane on the Sunday to get into Europe in time to test here for the pre-season test. So that was, you know, after breaking lap records at all the tracks in New Zealand as well.
It's a very fair commitment, isn't it? You see in the centre of your screens there, Eddie O'Shea, the number 8. He's about to do a run-through of the long lap penalty. That's why he stuck his leg out there. He took out a couple of riders in the qualifying session. He gave himself a bit of an injury, a hole in his arm, no less. Pretty grim stuff if you go check out his Instagram, but he's still fighting through that pain barrier today. He says it's not hampering him on the bike position, but because of that move, he will have a long lap penalty to serve in this race.
Well, at least he's recovered from that. Was it a mountain bike injury or something that, you know, it distressed one of his major veins, and he's had vein replacement. It was a silly sort of injury, but it was really affected him all the way through last year. I think he missed something like 6 races towards the end of the last year.
He hasn't done a race in 8 months or something, he said.
No, and so that's why he was only 16th in the Rookies Cup last year. But he got 3rd in Jerez and Mugello, so he can obviously run the pace, and now he should be fully fit, but he's got to deal with that long lap penalty.
Well then, I hope the riders aren't as nervous as us in the commentary box. I always get pre-race jitters, so I can't imagine how they must be feeling ahead of this first outing of 2023. Any predictions last minute?
Well, I'm just going to watch Rousset Moodley. You know, he says he's going to go as fast as anybody in front of him. So I can't wait to see that. That's fantastic. So
we got a bit of a problem for the number 5 in the background.
That's Leo Ramersdorfer, the 18-year-old Austrian.
Oh, there we go. I think his bike stalled. He's going to have to start from pit lane, I'm afraid.
Yeah, so that's very unfortunate for him, because not only has he got to get into pit lane, he's got to get it started, and the other guys will be disappearing over the horizon.
Well, that'll be his race chances done and dusted. But let's see how we get on here then.
Right, so 14 laps of Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup action. The long shadows here in Portimao. The lights go out, and who gets a good start? It's all the front row well away, and it's Rousset Moodley, the South African. The South African leads on the run down into turn 1.
What a start that was from Rousset Moodley. Go faster than anybody in front of you. Well, that certainly fits the bill. He covers his line just about, with Angel Piqueras looking up the inside, but he leads just about to turn 3, but Piqueras moves up the inside.
But drifts wide there. Does Rousset come back underneath him? Who is it? It is the South African who leads going up the hill. Fantastic stuff. 2 lead changes already in this race.
Like a man possessed. Beast is the number 11. That is absolutely awesome. I have no idea where he's finding this kind of energy from. He was in bed for most of the week leading up to this with chicken pox.
And it's Rico Samela, the 15-year-old Finn, who's up into third place already.
Oh, bless
Brilliant stuff. And he's looking for a way round Pakaris. Has he got up into second? Yes, he has. The Finn comes inside. He takes second place from Hajar Pakaris.
This is really, really interesting because in the pre-season talks, all we really spoke about was how strong Pakaris looked at the end of last year, and in pre-season testing, he's certainly very, very strong, but he's not having it all his way so far in race one.
He's got back into second place, so it's still Ruche Moodley who has the advantage, and Rico comes underneath again, underneath Pakaris, but he can't retake that second place.
Keep an eye on the number 83 with him as well. That is Alvaro Carpe, the Spanish rider who's come through here up towards the front. He's now moved into second place. That is excellent stuff from the rookie.
Incredible stuff. Beautifully done, wasn't it? He made a couple of passing moves, 2 passing moves in 2 corners without looking at all out of shape. Superb stuff.
The rider that really lost out at the start there was the 67 of Casey O'Gorman. He's been pushed back to 6th with a sluggish start at the start of this race. And we're coming around the final corner then to complete lap 1, and it's neck and neck they'll be across the line.
And there's somebody off on the green there, but that's just one count for them, but it's the 83 of Alvaro Carpe that has the advantage.
How about that?
Brilliant. They spread out across the track. Who's going to be latest on the brakes on the run down into the first corner? Carpe slots into second place.
I can't actually tell who's gone out front. It's Hakim Danish.
Yeah.
It's the Malaysian rider who's gone out front. The number 13, how about that? Where did he come from? Oh, Moodley's gone very wide there into turn 3.
Yes, and he's lost about 10 places, hadn't he? But number 13, lucky for Hakim Danish, the Malaysian, he was superb through practice. He was always battling towards the front, and you know, he's shown how fast he is now by taking the lead. With still 13 laps to go, and there's another one. Was that, I think, Pakaris who ran wide that time?
Oh, yeah, incredibly wide down at turn 5. But this, from the Malaysian, is extraordinary. Hakim Danish, the Asia Talent Cup champion from last year, his first Red Bull Rookies race. I mean, wow, oh, wow. I mean, he's barely ever seen this track before. This is incredible.
But he was good in the ATC, wasn't he? Four wins, you know, in a very competitive series.
So I spoke to him earlier on, and I asked him, what are your sort of anticipations ahead of this race? He's still fighting for the lead there. He started in 8th place on the grid. He said, well, as long as I can keep with the leading group, I'll be happy, but I'll make a judgment of when I get towards the podium places if I'm happy or not. And he's clearly not happy with anything other than a win.
Other than win. And yes, and Alvaro Carpe's into second place behind the Malaysian. And it's you know, it's still all, you know, one after the other, isn't it? It's 20 guys all in line of stone there.
Yeah, this is it's not going to stay this way, that's for sure, is it? We got a jump start for Amaury Mizera which means he'll have a double long lap penalty in this race. He's currently running. Mizera down in 18th, so he can kiss his chances of points goodbye today.
Well, it's side by side then. It's after running wide, Pakaris is back in the lead. He recovered on that lap, and you can see how long the shadows here are. The 28, of course, is Maximo Chies, who now takes the lead from his arch-rival Pakaris.
And they really are arch-rivals. Previously, they did not get on. They are clearly the 2 favourites coming into the championship this year, with multiple race victories between them, but there will be no love lost in this kind of race between them.
That's right. They were 3rd and 4th in the championship last year, went head-to-head several times, including the last races in Valencia, and they've already started it up again. It is the 28 of Maximo Chies, the 15-year-old Spaniard, that leads.
You can see just how, well, I would say, pretty miffed Angel Pakaris was at the end of last year, losing out in that final lap, final sort of corner dash to the line between himself and Max Chies, and it's, well, picking up from where they left off just a few months ago.
That's right. He won the Maximo Chies won the last race of last year, and he'd love to win the first race of this one, ahead of his arch-rival Angel Pakaris at the moment, with still 11.5 laps to go.
3 Spaniards out front then you've got the Malaysian rider Hakim Danish just in 4th position, Sal Mella, then Ferrandes, another Spaniard, O'Gorman, Guido Pini, your reigning European Talent Cup champion, is now moved up ahead of O'Gorman into 7th.
So, you know, and it's showing us one lead group all the way down to 19, and that's Aditama, RB Aditama. Well,
pretty incredible stuff. As we look in P10, I can see Eddie O'Shea there just behind Daniel Sherrill, the other Malaysian rider that we have in the roster here. His 2nd season in Rookies Cup. coming into 2023. Across the line they'll come then. Who will be top of the pile as they come across the line this time around? I think it is Carpe and Quiles, both fastest laps of the race so far, with Pini going even quicker.
Spreading out across the track there, and of course Pini has 2 long lap penalties to serve, and I don't know how, if he's served one already or not.
That's a good point. Yeah, he will get. He's already been told that he's got that double long lap penalty, so he has about 3 laps to start serving it. Otherwise, he's in trouble.
Well, that's right. Yeah. So he got that for riding too slowly in practice, so he's got to serve 2 long lap penalties. We'll just see when he decides to do that. Okay, so right, back with the battle at the front there. You're looking back at the 83 of superb, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. Carpe there, seeing the style he's putting together here,
especially from a rookie as well. I mean, they're all rookies, they're all Red Bull rookies, but he's a real rookie. He's not ridden in this class before, and he's given it as good as he can against the most experienced guys in the field.
That's right, and he looked to go around, looked to be trying to go around the...
Pini!
Oh, no!
Blimey, O'Reilly! He takes Max Quiles off and out of contention. How he kept it upright, I have no idea, but Pini, moving up and towards 4th, just cleared Quiles out of the race. It's going to be boxing in the... Oh, and he's gone down as well. He couldn't keep it going. He will be spitting feathers after that.
You know, he does. He's a very emotional young man, and he will not be impressed with that.
That was a bit ambitious from Pini. I think what matters is his trajectory staying on the racing line.
Well, yeah, I think, you know, in his defence, Pini's defence, Maximo was very, very wide, wasn't he? He was really wide. Is this where he slides off it?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, you see that too often, don't you? They're not motocross bikes, are they? But yeah, you know, Maximo was really, really wide, and I think Pini saw a gap when to go inside, and then Max came back online, and you know, it may not all have been Pini's fault.
No, exactly that. There's a lot of line choices through there, isn't it? No matter what racing class you are, it's very inviting for a lunge and everything like that, and it certainly was a lunge. I've got to say that. But anyway, Pini, where is he at the moment? He's taken one of his long lap penalties because now he's down in 13th, or... Well, I hope he has, or maybe that was just an aspect of the collision with Quiles.
Well, yeah, maybe, that's right.
I can see also on our timing screens that Carter Thompson, Australian fans, crashed but has rejoined the race. That's unfortunate for him. He got a qualifying up into 12th position. He was feeling quite relaxed about the race today. That was a good start for him up until that crash there.
So for Quiles and Carpe, they've got a bit of a breathing space because of what went on behind them between Pini and Max Quiles, and it's now O'Gorman up into 3rd place. He's got a bit of a clear road ahead of him to try and close in on that leading duo, and he's towing the others behind.
Yeah, he absolutely is, really towing them behind, doing very, very well indeed, isn't he? But Salmela just moves up the inside of Danish as well, up into 4th position now then. So that is very, very good from the young Finn. Of course, one of 3 riders on the grid who have taken Red Bull Rookies victories previously. The other 2 being, of course, Piqueras and Max Quiles. And that was just Carpe having a look behind him. He's towing Piqueras, or he's in the tow of Piqueras coming into that final corner, turn 15. Takes a long look behind. We'll see how much the chasing pack can reel them in on the start and finish straight this time around.
And if these 2 in front really play a clever game, they can get away. But of course, you so rarely see that, do you? It's always every man for himself.
Yeah, absolutely is. Yeah, really, really difficult for them to, especially at this age as well. They are just getting started at sort of European World Championship level, so to speak, as Piqueras moves up the inside of Carpe that time around. It is difficult to get them to work together, but then when you see, well, as we see the incident between Quiles and Pini is under investigation, when things like that happen, you can understand why they might not be too partial to work together.
I love Carpe's elbows. His elbows stick up incredibly high, don't they?
Yeah, he's a tall lad, isn't he? He's I think Piqueras is a bit more sort of stocky, quite sort of filled out and things like that. But yeah, Carpe's certainly a bit more lanky. Same goes for Ferrandez and Pini. Pini's going to be an absolute giant someday.
Yeah, that's right. So Carpe and Piqueras still with that advantage.
unfortunately, that mistake earlier on for Moodley really left him well out of contention now. He's down in 10th place behind Luciano and Marcos Ruda.
Yeah, that's right. It all just happened with one running wide, didn't it? And he's not been able to really get back from that sort of 10th, 11th place. He's right in the battle there. But this is the battle for the lead. The 18 of Angel Piqueras still with the advantage over the 83 of Alvaro Carpe.
Well then, still a good gap to the leading duo, and that was that Ferrandis or Danish putting a move up the inside of something? I think it was Danish there. He's got quite a distinctive red helmet, red and yellow on his helmet. A little bit like Luciano, actually, more Belgian colours. I'll have to ask him about his lid design this year, as we see O'Gorman round the outside of Rico Salmela. Those two are good mates. They love sort of riding against each other, even when they were doing the photo shoots, going very, very slow behind a car for photos. Rico was playing around with O'Gorman, pushing him offline, pushing him towards the white lines and things like that, having great fun.
So with these guys, have got a bit of a gap, but we're still not at half distance. There is the 94 of Guido Pini.
And he's been given a long lap penalty, another one for irresponsible riding. So that'll be 3 long lap penalties he's had in one race.
Yeah, we're not too sure how many he's actually taken.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That might be a new record for the Rookies' Cup, I think, actually. Yeah. We'll have to see, won't we?
Yeah, three long lap penalties. I was just looking up at the timing to see whether that tells us, and I don't think it does tell us that he's whether he's served those penalties or not.
Well, where is he at the moment, Pini? He is way down in 13th position, but he's going to be down a lot further than that. He's ahead of Aditama now, and behind Buchanan. Buchanan and Rollstone, the Aussie and the Kiwi, having their own little battle there. Rollstone had a shocker, he won't mind me saying, of a qualifying session. Just completely timed it wrong after some bike issues of trying to get out with the group. He was lapping alone, and he could only manage 20th on the grid. But he's been looking a lot stronger this year. I think you need to keep an eye on him later on in the season. Same goes for Buchanan. Having said that, points for Buchanan's pretty good going, especially when you consider where he started in Rookies' Cup.
Yeah, that's right. No points in his first season at all. So now we're just approaching halfway, and it's still only a 1 second gap that Piqueras and Carpe have over the pursuing Danish, Ferrandis, Salmela, O'Gorman, Ruda and co.
Got to keep my eye on Casey O'Gorman, though. He looks to be playing a much more sensible race than he's been doing perhaps previously as well. His racecraft really coming on, consistency coming on as well. He's just moved back up into 3rd position ahead of Ferrandis. Ferrandis, a much taller frame behind him, will struggle to overtake using just the slipstream, but he has managed it just about. But can O'Gorman get him on the brakes? No, he can't.
Well, those two are quick enough, aren't they? They qualified 3rd and 5th, O'Gorman and Ferrandis. So, you know, if they can work it out, they could close up on these two if the leading duo muck each other around. Of course, that's 18 Piqueras still ahead of the 83 of Alvaro Carpe. Looking back on Carpe now.
It is quite refreshing to not see a singular rider just being so much more ready at the first race of the season than everybody else, like we saw with Rueda previously and David Alonso getting 2 victories in a row in the first round. It's nice to see, even though Piqueras is still my championship favourite from the outset, it's good to see not just anybody but another rookie, a brand new rider to the series, giving it as good as he can get in this very first race. He's not letting him get away.
Certainly, you know, it doesn't look like we're going to see the repeat of Pedro Acosta's season when he won the first 6 races of the year. And of course, then he went on to win the Moto3 World Championship the following season.
Oh, did he? Has he gone on to do good things?
Yeah, he has actually. Yeah, he was not too shabby on the Moto2 bike this weekend.
Right. Okay, I've not heard of him. I have to look him up.
So there we are. It's O'Gorman, Ferrandis chasing after the leading Angel Piqueras and Alvaro Carpe, trying to close in. It's so now a 1.3, 1.4 second gap. So those leading duo just are eking out a bit of an advantage as we've gone into the second half of this race.
Got to give a shout out to the group after this second group that we're looking at right now. You've actually got 2 Malaysians. You had before Danish made the overtake. He's in 5th place. His fellow countryman Daniel Sharil, his 2nd year in Rookies Cup. He's down in 7th place now, leading that 3rd group of Ruda, Moodley, Luciano, and I think Rollstone and Buchanan as well.
Yeah, and it's now the 83 of Alvaro Carpe that takes up the lead.
Blimey, I'm going to call him Ben Spees, because I've not seen elbows like that with, since Ben Spees was in World Superbikes and motoGP, actually. So that's a great tribute. Although, actually, unfortunately now, a lot of our rookies probably not even old enough to know who Ben Spees is. What a shocking thing that is, Peter.
I know. And the other shocking thing is that these lads weren't even born when Rookies Cup started 17 years ago.
Yeah.
There you go.
I don't often feel old, but that sort of thing does make me feel a little bit ageing.
Right, so you're on board with Piqueras, looking back at the 83 of Alvaro Carpe, the 15-year-old Spaniards running 1 and 2, then an Irishman, then the 54 of Alberto Fernandez, also a Spaniard, a Finn, a Malaysian, a South African. Wonderful spread of nationalities.
This is that chasing pack then, so O'Gorman looks to be sort of taking charge of it a little bit here. I do wonder what Fernandez is learning from behind him, and Salmela looking very, very strong indeed, just looking up the inside there of Fernandez, but thinks better of it. O'Gorman just looking, pretty solid there, I would say, in P3. They're not making major inroads on the leading two, so I don't have much hope for a grandstand finish of a massive pack at the end, but I'm often surprised in Rookies Cup.
Yeah, and, you know, there's still 5.5 laps to go here, and I think that the battle between Piqueras and Alvaro Carpe is, you know, it's already pretty tough, and I think it could get hotter and hotter. And of course, the possibility of mistakes, and we know that Angel Piqueras knows how that can play into things, as it did for him last year.
Yeah, quite right. Worth noting some of what we're seeing on the timing screens as the lap counter ticks down to 5 laps to go. Reece Stevenson has had a crash, but he has rejoined the race. Max Keeler's actually got going again. He's 1 lap down, but his pace is basically mimicking the leaders all on his own.
Yeah, he's obviously, and yeah, be furious, won't he? So this is the lead battle. Looks pretty cool at the moment, but you know, we've still got 5 laps to go. It's going backwards and forwards between the two. They now have a 2-second advantage over the chasing pack, which is headed for the minute by Rico Salmela, the Finn, on the number 27 KTM.
So Eddie O'Shea has entered the pits now, unfortunately. I wonder whether he's got a bit too much of an issue with his injury from his crash yesterday, unfortunately. As he's chatting to his dad there, Seb, so hopefully all okay with Eddie, but might be a bit too much of a tall order for now, young Eddie, who just took part in his mock GCSE exams in between the test, the 3 days off or so between the test and the race weekend.
Yeah, and I just hope it's, you know, he's sitting down there. I hope it is no sort of recurrence of last year's injury where he just, you know, lost the ability to move. Everything sort of locked up for him. I really hope that he got away from that, got over that. Anyway, so there's slow-mo action of the 2 stylish youngsters out in front. Alvaro Carpe, 15. Angel Piqueras, just 16. You wouldn't know it, would you? The beautiful way these guys ride these KTMs.
Born racers, aren't they, Peter? Born racers, that's for sure.
So, Salmela up into 3rd place with Danish, O'Gorman, Fernandez. Can he do anything about this 2.4 second lap? It was the last split. What is it now? 2.9. No, it's growing. 4 laps remaining. And it's down to the battle between these two. It's Carpe who has the advantage for the moment.
All elbow action once again, but Piqueras is so much stronger than him through turn 2 there. You can really see that's quite an often overtaking spot for Piqueras, so Carpe will definitely be having a look through this video footage here tonight to work out exactly what he's not doing in comparison to Piqueras through there, because he's really vulnerable through that part.
And Rico Salmela heading that group there. Casey O'Gorman, Danish, Fernandez. If it comes down just to those two, you know, as it looks at the moment with 3.5 laps to go, battling for the lead in the last lap, who's your money on?
I would say Piqueras, because that final set of turns is very, very difficult. You've got a proper downhill negative camber on the penultimate corner, and then turn 15 is so long, and you've got that little lump over it where you have to get your drive just right, timing of opening the throttle, the line choice and everything. I just think Piqueras has probably got a bit more experience, even on these bikes particularly, to just get him to the line. But I'm always happy to be surprised, Peter. Well, what about you?
Yeah, that's right. And of course, last year, you know, we had Jose Rueda touching the green, as we saw on the on the pre-show there, and that lost him the race. So, you know, and of course they've got to be aware of that anywhere around here. If they touch the green, they haven't been touching the green too many times. We haven't seen them racking up, you know, the numbers of green touches to get a penalty. But just a single touch on the last lap, and they get a penalty. So we really got to watch that with 3.5 laps to go.
Yeah, absolutely. But as we can see here, this will be a dress rehearsal. So Piqueras and Carpe, well, neck and neck. And Carpe can get him through the final corner there, but you've got to wonder. But at this sort of age, at 16 or so, is Piqueras aware enough, capable enough of playing some sort of mind games? Did he allow him to do that? Was he sussing him out? Was he trying to learn of what he needs to do to defend on that final lap, or does he need to come from behind? We don't know. This is why we love motorcycle racing, and personally I love it at this level. Has he learned it yet? It's absolutely awesome.
Well, I think you pointed out, didn't you, Matt, that, you know, Piqueras was mad at himself for letting, you know, Max Chies win the final race of last year. So I think, you know, he thinks a lot about those, you know, last lap tactics and that. And, you know, in Valencia, that was, I think, about, you know, 6 or 8 guys battling for the win. This is just the 2 of them. Yeah. So I'm sure that very much, you know, Piqueras is thinking about that last lap.
When it comes down to a last lap duel like this, it really is, but a bit more like boxing and things like that. Your tactics have to be on it. You really have to use your head. It's not just about your raw speed or your raw talent. It's about your ability to read the space around you and manipulate yourself in it, essentially. And the very best of the best. Well, we've seen one of them, Marc Marquez, is just an absolute demon at that, as we see the number 56 of Kevin Farkas has gone down, unfortunately.
And he's obviously okay. He's trying to get the bike going again. And, you know, what do you think? Do you think the thing would be, will our man Piqueras actually be happy to be second? Is he drifting wide there?
Yeah, well, this may be it, you see. So he's looking like he's riding a bit easier there, wasn't he? He's almost like he wants him to go in front, but they can't sit up that much because there's still a chasing pack behind them.
That's right. There's a 3-second gap, but that will soon, if they start mucking around, that's soon going to disappear. And I'm sure they'd much rather. Now, is he practicing then for the run into the line on the last lap?
Let's see. How's his drive? Because he took a very different line there, didn't he? But can he get in towards the line, or is he sussing out whether he can or not? He certainly wouldn't be have won the race if that was the final lap.
No, that's right.
You know, these guys, well, they're much better than you and I would have been on a bike, that's for sure. So, don't know about you, but yeah, certainly me.
Yeah, that's right. You know, yes, he's obviously working on it, isn't he? He's thinking about it. Do I want to be second coming down the chute on that last lap? And I think he may have proved to himself that he doesn't. I think he may have proved to himself that he can't get out the slipstream and across the line in time, and he's really got to lead on that last lap. So he's now taking up. Is he going to make a try and break for it? He said he would try and break away. He obviously didn't early in the race, but is he going to try that now with a lap and a half to go?
Yeah, exactly. That's such a good point. I mean, he has already pulled out a couple of bike lengths there, but can he do it on the walk towards the run to the line, or will Carpe reel him back in that one final time along the start and finish straight, close back in? But yeah, you just don't know. I mean, this could be looking at Piqueras being in a complete class of his own, as we see the number 23 has gone down. Reece Stevenson again. That's his second crash, bless him. He'll be livid with himself, but we'll need to go give him a hug a little bit later on.
Now the pace is not that quick. 1:53s. Now the pole time was a 1:50. So, you know, arguably that Piqueras has something up his sleeve, and he could be managed to break away from Carpe on the last lap and a half.
But as they come into this final sector, then Carpe has reeled him back in once again. So I think he's close enough to get him back up onto his rear wheel once again as we come across the finish line. Because of course this time around, this is the penultimate lap we're on. It will be the final lap.
So this now the run to the finish. Down, they drop down. Up through the gears, they're up into 5th gear. They hook 6th gear just before the start and finish. They're going 240 kilometres an hour, 150 miles an hour by the time they get to the end of the straight here, and then drop down, changing all the way down to 2nd gear for this tight right-hander at the bottom.
Blimey, how late was Piqueras on the brakes there? So it is Piqueras versus Carpe, then the 83, the young Spaniard there. Will he get, well, the wily old fox of rookies on this final lap then?
Yeah, I think Piqueras definitely has decided he wants to lead this one. He's not, I don't see him giving away anything, in fact, to Carpe on this last lap. He's broken away. He's now got, what, an 8 bike length lead? Is it as much as that? But Carpe coming back, and Rico Salmela, he's closed in on them. There was just 2 seconds.
Yes.
2 seconds behind them. So they took a full second out of the leaders. It's still a 2-second advantage, but they cannot afford to muck around, because otherwise Salmela, O'Gorman, Ferrandis and Danish are going to be in the hunt.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Salmela looked like he might have third place wrapped up there. So we haven't, of course, seen much of that action for the last couple of laps between the chasing group. But Salmela's played an absolute blinder to claim another rookie's podium. But as we get into these closing stages, will Carpe pull an ace out from his sleeve?
He's certainly pushing, isn't he? He's using every bit of track, but so is Chies there. So is Piqueras. He has the advantage.
Well then, 2 more corners to go, and quite honestly, I think the 83 is not going to close in enough on Piqueras. He's absolutely played it as cool as you like. He's well and truly got the measure of him today, but it's not been completely all his way. This looks like a great way for the number 18 to start his season.
The super fast right-hander goes down the hill for the final time, the last lap. He's got to keep it off the green. He cannot afford to run wide. No, he's not going to run wide. He's got it, done it absolutely brilliantly, and he is going to win the first Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup of the season of 2023. So it's Angel Piqueras who wins ahead of the first-year rookie Alvaro Carpe, and then Rico Salmela, O'Gorman, Danish. What a great race.
Yeah, that was absolutely awesome. Not the just mental, non-stop action that we've seen before, but I think that was one of the most interesting rookies races I've ever seen in terms of that tactical battle and the visible learning that we see from the riders on track.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you picked it right. Angel Piqueras really thought about what he was doing.
He's not bothered though, is he? His Carpe, he's well, Jeff. It's like he's won it.
No, well, that's right. You know, he knows this is the race 1 of 14. He's going to have plenty of chances to get on the top step of the podium, but there's Angel Piqueras, and he must be thrilled with that. Definitely a thinking man's race, that one.
Yeah, that was really awesome. I really enjoyed that. Just fascinating to watch. I've got to give a couple of shout-outs, though, to you've got, especially your man in second place. He gets the main shout-out, but fellow rookies of Rookies Cup, Hakim Danish in 5th place. For that to be a start in your rookie's career, I mean, that is sensational. Got to also hand it to Daniel Schiaville's fellow countryman. Top 10 for him. That'll be one of his best results so far in Rookies Cup. Really great stuff from the Malaysians.
Yeah, and it's good to see Ruche Moodley, who finally did recover to 7th place. Obviously, he's going to be disappointed having qualified in the middle of the front row, but that still is his best result. His best result previous last year was 10th in Aragon 1 and 2. So Ruche there picking up a 7th place, some consolation, and I'm sure he's going to try just as hard tomorrow.
Always a good thing to be disappointed with your best ever result, which I'm sure to some extent he will be, eh?
Yeah, well, that's right. You know, and the great thing about rookies is that we know they're all going to start from penalties aside. They're going to start from the same places on the grid again tomorrow, and of course we know that Maximo Chies will be determined to do much. He'll be absolutely livid about today, won't he?
He'll be sharpening his elbows for tomorrow, that's for sure, and yeah, kissing his knuckles beforehand, getting into a bit of a brawl tomorrow with Chies. I can't wait to see how he responds to that today. Quite glad I'm not Guido Pini, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Max, he's a fiery young fella, that's for sure.
No, now Pini finished 12th. We will assume he did take all 3 long lap penalties, so that was quite impressive to finish 12th after that.
Yeah, he's a very talented young rider, isn't he? European Talent Cup champion from last year, brought into Rookies Cup after the selection event and whatnot, so looking forward to seeing what he gets up to more as time goes on.
Yeah, and I would think that Lorenz Luciano on the number 81, he'll be disappointed there just to have finished in 10th after qualifying. What was he, in 4th place? So I don't think he'll be thrilled with that, but he said it's all in the head. It's another learning experience.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And here was the race-winning overtake then. So it was just clearly Piqueras was sussing him out. Where could he go faster? Could he even just pull away and leave no opportunity for a final corner, final sector overtake? Yes was the answer. He could pull away, and so he did. It wasn't quite a Rueda demolition job that we got used to a little bit last year, but that, to be honest, is no bad thing for us commentators.
No, indeed, and I think Carpe will look at the race and he'll look at the lines he chose, and maybe think about suspension settings, even gearing, and because these guys can change any of those things for the race tomorrow, and he'll be hoping to take it to Angel Vaqueros and reverse the result for tomorrow morning, and it is tomorrow morning. Now, there's something we were talking about before. We must remind everybody you're going to be watching this over breakfast tomorrow, because race 2 starts the day at 9:50 Central European summertime, and don't forget it's summertime tomorrow, with the race starting 10 minutes ahead of the show, so at 9:40 Central European summertime tomorrow. So that's and that's going to be the same all year, so everybody get used to an early start to breakfast on a Sunday.
Yeah, cannot wait for that. I mean, it might even be pre-breakfast for us. I might just wait to have breakfast after the race, to be honest. Get over excited. Oh, let's see if our voices have even recovered in time. I mean, a couple of months off for the commentators as well. We got to warm up too. That's nice to see from Rico Salmela going to give Vaqueros a little hug. Very good, great respect from all our rookies among each other.
Yeah, and he's had pretty much a perfect weekend, really, hasn't he, Angel Vaqueros?
Oh, look at that. Aki Ayo giving him a handshake as well.
Yeah. Aki obviously takes a great deal of interest in what these guys are doing, because a lot of these guys are likely to end up in his team sooner or later.
Yeah, exactly. He took Jose Rueda from Red Bull Rookies Cup to the Moto3 World Championship this year with his very own team. We can see Eddie O'Shea in the background there of the shot, up and walking, thankfully, so that's really good to see. Maybe just a little bit too much to ask for his arm after yesterday's injury. But yes, that was pretty fascinating stuff. Great to see down there. Akiyara taking such an interest, a big team boss from the MotoGP circles.
Yeah, and of course, I'm particularly interested in Rico Salmela, the Finn. Yeah, yes, and
certainly would be.
Rico won a race last year, and is he one of your favourites for the championship?
Rico, yeah, he's definitely an outside shot, I would say, for my pick for the title. I mean, he won a race. He really came on leaps and bounds last year. Won a race, didn't he, as well? Multiple podiums. Really looking strong. I just always hesitant to say definite. Because you just never know in Rookies Cup. Rouchet Moodley comes on the front row for how, and you just never know.
That's right. Yeah, and Hakim Danish, that's right. So the guys sort of seem to appear from nowhere, and and I think that the guys who are obviously we've already seen Alvaro Carpe in his first Rookies Cup race take the battle at the front, and I think there'll be more as the guys get a little bit of experience in race 2, in race 3, and in race 4. By the time we get to race 4, which is race 2 in Jerez, a lot of these guys that are sort of just learning a bit will be battling at the front. And race 2 in Jerez is the 200th Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup race.
Blimey, well, that'll be a real feather in your cap if you're going to take that win then, aren't you? So let's head down to Parc Ferme then. Let's hear from Rico Salmela, third place today. He's with Dominica.
Rico, congratulations. What a great comeback to the rookie season.
Yeah, the race was really good. In the start of the race, I was a little bit worried and I was struggling to overtake people, but in the middle of the race, I started to go in the front of the group, and I felt a little bit like I was panicking a little bit, but the few last laps I was just a bit more calm, and I could catch the riders in front a little bit. Well, a few laps more and I think I was gonna get them, but I'm happy with this. Thank you to everyone who support me and to my family.
Yeah,
how do you feel about tomorrow's race?
I think tomorrow is going to be good. I just have to start pushing more in the beginning of the race.
Thank you, Rico.
Yeah, I think it's a very valid point that Rico made, because his gap Salmela to Piqueras was just 2 seconds at the end, and we know that Piqueras had the hammer fully down for that last lap, didn't he?
Yeah, he was flat out, so that was really impressive from Rico. Really enjoyed that Parc Fermé interview with him as well, very honest as well. He was panicking a little bit too much in the initial stages, but once he calmed down, he went a lot quicker and caught them up. I would certainly like to hear that. Let's head back down to Parc Fermé though. We've got a Red Bull Rookies Cup rookie on the podium in second place is Alvaro Carpe with Dominica.
Alvaro, congratulations! Do you believe you're on the podium today?
No. Unbelievable. Unbelievable race. This amazing moment. And now we have to enjoy the moment because when I was a kid, my dream was this. It's amazing.
Well done, great job.
Thank you.
It's great, isn't it? You know, you really feel that you're helping these guys to fulfill their dreams. Obviously this is one, but I'm sure he's got a lot more dreams to pursue after this.
Yeah, exactly. That's why Rookies Cup is so special. Hope all of you at home are enjoying watching this as well. You really get to see these riders at the very start of their real professional career, don't you?
Yeah, and you know, we've had sort of 200 or more than well over 200 rookies come through, and almost 52% of our ex-rookies make at least one GP start.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Will Piqueras be one of them of the future? Our race winner is with Dominica.
Angel Piqueras, what a comeback to the rookies. Well, tell us, how was the race for you?
I'm very happy because I did a very good job on the precision, and I don't know, today I felt really good with the bike, and it was difficult because I had to push every laps, but finally I did it, and I'm happy to be here on the podium today.
Well done.
Thank you.
Ice cool, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And I think he's. I was thinking his English hadn't improved so much, but that was actually quite a nice pace race interview. And you know, that was just showing. That was, I think, 2 laps to go, wasn't it? That he proved to himself that he couldn't wait for the final lap to overtake on the run into the line, and he had to do something about that.
Yeah, very, very clever indeed. Interesting comments as well to say he had a great pre-season. Everything sort of went to plan. He was so strong in the test from the off as well. Yeah, could this beat Piqueras' season? It's looking very good for now, but it's a long way to go yet. Our final race in Misano, of course, much later on.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a fabulous season around Europe, and this is just the first race of 14.
Let's get a look at these final results in 26 minutes of racing, and this is what it brought us. A victory for Piqueras, Carpe in second, Salmela in third. O'Gorman just 2 seconds off the win in fourth place from Hakim Danish, Alberto Ferrandez and Marcos Ruda. Lots of Spaniards in the top 9 here. We haven't seen that for quite a while. Ruche Mouli was 8th ahead of Daniel Scheril in 9th place. Lorenzo Luciano from 4th on the grid up to 10th at the flag. Marco Morelli, what a finish that is for the Argentinian rider from 18th on the grid. Sensational stuff. Guido Pini 12th from Jacob Rolstone and Cormac Buchanan. RB Adatama, he'll be a little bit disappointed with 15th, I suspect. Amari Mizera overcame 2 long lap penalties to finish 16th. Rosenhaler 17th from Shinya Izawa. Alexander Enriquez came home in 19th place, 53 seconds off the win. Carter Thompson, Max Keeles and Leo Rammersdorfer rounding out the finishers in today's race. The championship is going to be exactly the same.
Yeah. Nicely, 25 points, that's what counts, of course, and that's what really Angel Piqueras cares about.
Yeah, exactly that. And as you can see, it's the classic championships of denominations and running order in the standings as well. 5 points separate first and second, 4 second and third, 3 third and fourth, etc, 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 and further down. But the last rider with points from today's race was RB Adatama, the Indonesia. You can have a big cheer over in the Far East if you're still awake watching this.
Yeah, and of course, we're going to see it and do it all again tomorrow. Just another reminder that you've got to set your alarms early, get your breakfast on, get the tea and toast going, because you're at 9:40 Central European summertime is the kickoff this morning, tomorrow morning, and that will be the same all year. So here we have the podium, waiting for the podium. For the first podium of the season, and it should be Jose Rueda actually presenting the trophies here. There's Rico takes up his third place position. Of course, Jose Rueda won this race last year on his way to the 2022 Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup, and he now rides for the IO Red Bull KTM team in Moto3, and he's doing very, very well. We already saw him do a great job earlier today in qualifying.
Yeah, how strange must that be, given that Rueda is genuinely still very good mates with quite a lot of the riders here. He came to watch testing on the final day of rookies testing, whilst Moto2, Moto3 were getting set up just a week ago. So this might be quite a different experience. I wonder whether he anticipated something like this a year ago when he was on the top step of that podium.
Yeah, that's right. That just in 12 months on, he'd actually be presenting the trophies and doing very, very well for his start of his career in Moto3.
Still good mates with Angel Piqueras there, handing him the trophy. And of course, each year they are a part of the motorcycle that they ride around these tracks. Time for the national anthem of Spain.
Well, it was a brief rendition of the Spanish national anthem, but that's it for the first race of the 17th Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup season. And until tomorrow, it's goodbye from Matt Dunn and myself, Peter Clifford.
Well then, these are the highlights of the first race of Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup in 2023, and it was a stormer of a start from the number 11, the South African Ruche Moodley. Hot off the start, down in towards turn 1, taking the whole shot, but your eventual winner, Angel Piqueras, taking him all the way up towards turn 3. We had a surprise leader a little bit earlier on as well. That's the number 13 of Hakim Danish. Sensational stuff from the Malaysian rookie this year, but he was chased in that picture you could see by the 83 of Alvaro Carpe, your eventual second place finisher. But earlier on as well, you had the pink helmet of Max Quiles battling up front too, as he came through from the third row of the grid. Unfortunately, his race came to a premature end. He would have been livid about that, but that will come a little bit later on in this highlight package. Around about here, as the number 94 of Guido Pini sended it up the inside, pushed Quiles into the gravel, and unfortunately down he went. Another long lap penalty for the European Talent Cup champion last time around. That was Rhys Stevenson checking out of the race. Unfortunately, the Lincolnshire lad will be disappointed with that, and this was the battle to the line between Piqueras and Carpe. Piqueras decided with this move, this is the time I'm going to check out. I'm not leaving it to chance, leaving it to a last lap final corner battle. I am going to take this all the way to the line, stamp my authority all over the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup, and that was that, the tale of Saturday. We'll see you tomorrow, Sunday, early on Sunday morning for race 2. Catch you then.